Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. I normally talk for about an hour, hour and a half. But relax. Today is going to be 3 to 5 minutes. At a Sunday school, the teacher asked the little kindergartners, why should we be quiet in church? And one little kid got up and said, because people are asleep. And the problem with the problem today is that people are asleep. It's worse than that, actually. I think they are deceived. And there's deception, and the deception is going right around from the top to the bottom. And the sooner we open our eyes, the better it will be for all of us. That's right. I take care of children. I take care of a lot of children with disabilities, patients with Down syndrome, and a lot of birth defects. I really wish I had an advocate up in the presidency or vice presidency, and I wish I could have said our vice president was Sarah Palin, but I can't do that because we have a gaff machine in that place. It's very sad. And we don't have any advocate for children, for patients anymore. I'm going to talk to you today, very briefly, about something that we can all do. We always speak in groups to Christians, people of faith, and the people who have the same beliefs as us. So the time has come now to stop preaching the choir alone and get outside of that. And we really need to fire up the country, fire up the ordinary people so that they could know what's going on. Because the government thrives in keeping people in the dark. And there's a lot of darkness in the land right now. I don't know what the problem is. Are we dealing with a government that's ignorant, a government that's arrogant, or is it both? And I don't know what your views on it, but I think it's both, or make a mixture of the two. What I've been doing is trying to make a difference by linking with different groups. About 2 or 3 years ago, I was talking to people, doctors in the community, and they all were grumbling and saying things are going from bad to worse. It's nothing you can do. The culture of death is winning, the culture of life is losing, and nothing we can do about it. I told him, you know what the problem is? The problem is not them or they, it is you and me. You and I are the people responsible for this. Unless we do something, nothing can be achieved. And the result of that meeting was, we formed a new group of doctors, nurses, allied health personnel in an organization, in a community, which is part of a greater organization. And it's a CMA, it's my organization that I belong to, one of the organizations, is the Catholic Medical Association. And we have made it a point to go in the community and talk about life issues. And we've gone outside this committee, and our group is not only consisting of Catholic doctors, we also have non-Catholics. As long as you agree to the culture of life, the gospel of life, and against the culture of death, you're welcome to our meetings. I've also belonged to several other organizations. I belong to CCA. I belong to a committee called the Respect Life Committee at our church, Holy Family Church. All our churches are linked by Respect Life Committees. And what I'm really here today to talk to you about is the fact that our Respect Life Committee can be copied in other churches. I have gone out to other churches, both Catholic and Protestant, and talked to them about what we could do to form a Respect Life Committee. I have also talked to them about life issues. I really, as a Catholic, I love the Protestant organizations and groups better. Because each time I say something, they say, Amen. Yeah. And they agree with everything you say. The Catholics, you don't know what they are thinking, but they all look up.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I apologize to the videographer because I am not a stationary person. I can't hold still. I don't know if anyone else in the room hypothyroid? I am. And I found that out about 5 years ago when I was having cold problems. I was in the OR, and they keep the temperature about 65 so the surgeons can do their work. And it was the point I couldn't stand it. And finally I just said, I got to do something. I checked my thyroid studies, and they're kind of off the charts, so I realized I was hypothyroid. All the nurses in the pain clinic signed a letter of protest to my primary doctor saying, please, dear God, don't put him on thyroid medicine. He moves fast enough already. They were obviously looking out for my best interest. Okay. Now, what I had them send out to you was an outline of what I put together over the last month, which is healthcare reform. If you've looked at it, you can see that if I went through the whole thing in detail, I think we'd be able to release about 1:30 a.m. And you probably do not want to do that. So I gave it to you as an outline of the concepts. I'm going to skip through things. And actually, I'm not much for a lecture. I'm more of a discussion type person. And so we probably will just break this up a little bit into a section, see if anyone has questions, and then move to the next section. Okay. First two quotes. Russian proverb. Free cheese is only found in mousetraps. So, when they stand up in Washington and promise you something for nothing, you'd better darn well believe there's a string attached somewhere. And it usually catches you very sharply. If not right away, eventually. And we found that out from Bernie Madoff. He's the only man that can run a Ponzi scheme and go to jail. When Congress runs a Ponzi scheme, they get to keep on going forever and ever. My other favorite quote is P.J. O'Rourke. Many of you may have heard of him. And he said, if you think healthcare is expensive now, wait until it is free. Anyway, section 1. Okay, first thing I want to start out with is this Cash for Clunkers program is such a perfect metaphor for healthcare reform that I couldn't resist. Okay, so what have we done? We've created this program which is encouraging people to trade in their low mileage car for a high mileage car. The government gives them $4,500. The car then, by law, must be destroyed. Okay. There's a car parked out at the corner of the street. Did anyone notice that? It said, buy this car cheap, and you get $4,500 for the government. And to buy another car. He fails to realize that there is part of the law says you have to have the car for at least 2 years before you can trade it in. So it won't work. So he's going to be very unhappy after you buy that thing. But anyway, what's happening with this Cash for Clunkers program? Well, they put it into place rapidly, and the dealers are having trouble getting paid because the website keeps crashing. So that's sort of like the doctors. I have many friends that they will take care of the Medicaid population, and they're 90 days to 180 days behind in the state payments. Same process. Well, they underestimated. Even this week, we've got to have more money for this program because we completely underestimated how much it was going to cost. In 1965, they made Medicare projections as to what it would cost. In 1990, they were off by just a small factor of 10. And now they're telling us that this healthcare reform will only cost $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Well, if they're right, it will be the first time in history. So.